The conflict between the United States and Iran intensified on its fifth day as President Donald Trump praised what he described as overwhelming American success, and regional violence spread across multiple fronts. Speaking at the White House, Trump rated the U.S. performance in the war as a 15 on a scale of 10, saying Iran's leadership was being rapidly eliminated and vowing to press ahead. His comments came as a U.S. submarine sank an Iranian warship off the coast of Sri Lanka, and fresh explosions were reported across the Middle East. Trump also said Tehran's ballistic missile arsenal was being wiped out rapidly and repeated his justification for the campaign, arguing Iran was on the verge of obtaining a nuclear weapon. His administration has faced criticism after days of mixed messaging about the rationale for the war, particularly in light of his previous campaign pledge to start no new wars. In Washington, the U.S. Senate narrowly rejected a bipartisan resolution aimed at curbing Trump's authority to continue military strikes on Iran. The measure, introduced by Democratic Senator Tim Kaine and Republican Senator Rand Paul, would have required the withdrawal of U.S. forces from hostilities unless Congress formally authorized the campaign. Its failure marked a limited but significant show of congressional backing for a conflict launched without explicit legislative approval. Regional tensions mounted as a ballistic missile launched from Iran toward Turkish airspace via Iraq and Syria was destroyed by NATO air defense systems. Authorities did not specify the intended target. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said Ankara was taking all the necessary precautions in consultation with NATO allies following the interception. Iran has been striking sites across the region in retaliation after U.S. and Israeli attacks began Saturday. Fighting also escalated along Israel's northern border. Israeli strikes on Lebanon have killed 72 people and displaced more than 83,000 since a new round of fighting erupted between Israel and the Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah. Israel launched air raids on multiple areas of Lebanon after Hezbollah began firing rockets and drones toward Israeli territory on Monday. Israeli aircraft were seen flying over border areas as tanks positioned on the ground amid the exchange of fire. The Times of Israel reported that the Israeli military was planning at least 1 or 2 more weeks of operations in Iran, aiming to strike thousands more targets linked to the Iranian regime. Earlier, the military announced it had begun a new wave of strikes on Tehran, while an AFP journalist reported a fresh explosion in the northeast of the Iranian capital. Meanwhile, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps released images on March 4th of 2026 showing the launch of missiles and drones. The Israeli military said Wednesday it had detected new missiles fired from Iran, underscoring the continued exchanges on the fifth day of the U.S.-Israeli campaign. An explosion also rocked the western Iranian city of Baneh in Kurdistan province, according to a video verified by AFP. Large columns of smoke were seen rising over the city, with social media footage suggesting the blast struck a base belonging to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC. Strikes extended across the border into Iraq's autonomous Kurdistan region. An exiled Iranian Kurdish group in Iraq said a missile strike by Iranian forces around 11:30 a.m. local time killed one of its fighters. The IRGC later confirmed it had fired missiles at armed opposition groups in Iraqi Kurdistan. As the violence widened, civilians sought to flee. Pakistani nationals were seen hauling suitcases across the remote border crossing between Mirzaveh in Iran and Taftan in Pakistan's western Balochistan province. They described missiles being launched and widespread travel disruptions as they scrambled to leave Iran. AFP journalists reported a steady flow of people passing through large metal gates at the crossing.